Okay, neighbors, we're gonna hop right in. I start by adding 2 to 3 tablespoons to my pan, and I'm going to let that heat up a little bit. After that heats up, I'm going to add the onion that I chopped and also the bell pepper and celery. So I'm using 1 medium onion, 1 medium bell pepper, and about 2 stalks of celery. I really like the flavor that the celery adds to this dish. Once they're in the pan, I'm going to go ahead and let them saute down for about 10 minutes. I like to have onion, bell pepper, and celery in my chili, but I don't like for it to be crunchy. That's why I pre-cook it just a little bit before I add in my beef. Once that has cooked down for about 10 minutes, I go ahead and add my beef. Tonight I'm using a 90-10 ground beef, so it doesn't have much fat in it, which is why I added the oil in the beginning. So I'm going to let the ground beef brown, let the flavors of the onion, bell pepper, and celery start to settle in. Once it browns a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and start adding the first batch of seasoning to the meat. So I start by adding in my garlic, and I didn't put my garlic in when I sauteed the other vegetables because I didn't want it to get bitter. If you cook garlic a little too long, it can sometimes get bitter and burn. So I'm just mixing in the garlic here, and I'm going to start flavoring my meat. That's kind of how you build flavors. Chili is a thing where you just have to keep adding and keep adjusting as you move through the process and keep tasting until you have the taste that you're looking for. Um, Even being kind of a cook, I still don't, have my measurements and things down. So I just add to taste. I'm going to start by adding in my Italian seasonings. Now, I'm going to continue to tweak seasonings throughout the video. So you just adjust as you see fit. The next thing I'm adding is a little bit of chili powder, followed up by some cumin. And all the measurements for these things, well, all the list of ingredients will be listed below. The measurements are going to be to your taste. The next thing that I have up is some garlic powder, followed by onion powder. Then I'm going to add in a little bit of black pepper and also some cayenne pepper. So my chili has a decent level of spice to it. And the cool thing about chili is you can always adjust the heat um, to your liking. You can make it a little bit hotter or not as spicy. So I stirred in all of those seasonings, and I'm going to let the beef continue to brown, and it's going to come down to a little bit of a simmer. And then afterwards, I drain the oil that was on it, and I added in a 15-ounce can of beef broth. And this is regular beef broth. It's not a low sodium broth. Followed up by a can of rotel chilies. They're the mild kind. So it's the rotel tomatoes with the green chilies. This next can is a can of chili ready tomatoes, and basically it's the tomatoes, and they already have a little bit of garlic powder and things in it. In my chili, I prefer black beans. I really, really like black beans. If your preference is pinto beans or kidney beans, then use those. But I like the black beans, and I didn't drain them because the juice on them are really, really thick anyway. I took them directly out of the can and mixed them in to the chili. So after I get my beans mixed in, we're pretty much done with adding in things. you'll see me tweak the level of chili powder. I add in probably about 2 more teaspoons of that, a little bit more cumin, and then the other thing that you didn't see me add that I do go back and add is paprika. I don't know how I forgot that in the beginning, but I did remember it before I got to the end. So you're just going to give this a really good mix, and then you're going to like I said, adjust your seasonings. That is what I'm doing there. I'm adding in a little bit more Italian seasoning. And then I added in a little bit of the low sodium chicken broth. And if you've ever tasted low sodium chicken broth, to me it almost tastes like water with a little bit of flavoring. So it doesn't add to the salt content, but I wanted to thin the chili out just a little bit because as it simmers down, it starts to thicken. So I didn't want to start with a super thick product because the water would have continued to evaporate out and it would have been too thick in the end. So there you just adjust it. If you like really, really thick chili, you add less liquid. If you like thinner chili, then you add more liquid. So I let this simmered for about 30 to 45 minutes, long enough to fold a couple of loads of laundry. And then here was the final product. I just topped mine with a little bit of cheese. I'm not a big green onion fan, so you can top it with green onion. You can top it with sour cream, and it makes a delicious dinner. Again, as always, thank y'all so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I love talking to you all. And until next time, bye, neighbors.